Rogers Shows, starring Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys, Trigger, his golden palomino.
Welcome again to Hawkeye's Old Comics and Cards. Today I want to talk to you about Golden Cloud. Now you may know him as Trigger. The smartest horse in the movies is how he was built. But I have a picture here of him with his co-star. Of course you know that's Roy Rogers. And they were in 88 movies together and 100 TV shows. They were very well liked, very popular, and they worked so well together. And Roy first came across Trigger at a movie training stable. It didn't belong to Roy at first, so he had to save up his money and buy Trigger, or Golden Cloud, and he managed to keep him through all 88 movies except the very last one, which was named Macintosh and JJ. It was a really good movie. You ought to see if you can find it and take a look at it. But Roy and Trigger, their first movie together was Under Western Stars. I think it was a Zane Grey novel, if I'm not mistaken. But through the years, Roy and Trigger worked so well together. They were sort of made for each other, someone has said, and they had great rapport, great relationship. When Trigger passed, he was sold to RFD TV for over $280,000. So that's Roy and Trigger. There they are on that cover, and then we find them also on the number one, which is 4-color 38, which is actually number one. It's called 4-color number 38. Now, on the back it shows Roy and Trigger also. Usually in those early issues, a lot of times they'd show Roy and Trigger together. And by the way, Trigger has his hoof prints on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Roy, I think he has three. One source said 3 stars, and another one said 4. But here's an inside page of that 4-color 38, which talks about Trigger. It said the outfit that Trigger is on Trigger cost around $1,000, because a lot of it is silver, very expensive leather work done on that, and then it gives some more information about Roy and his outfit. But it mentions something here I didn't quite understand. Maybe some of you out there will. It says Roy Rogers' high school horse is a golden palomino of unusual intelligence and beauty. He's traveled all over the country with Roy, and he registered at hotels, and he goes all over the country with Roy. And during their appearances at a rodeo in New York City, Trigger was given a birthday party in the main dining room of the Hotel Dixie. A lot of that's interesting stuff. That was on that inside cover of that 4-color 38. Here's the number one issue, or a cover from it, of Trigger's line of comics. And there were 17 issues, and they were well done comics. And had a nice picture on the back. Like this picture. It shows the Palomino's beautiful color, and I believe that's Trigger Jr. there. It looks like he's curious about a frog down here. I don't know if you can pick that out or not, but they were nice issues, had good stories, and at the end they'd have a little follow-up story called Uncle Charlie's Tales. This is number 2. Also, a beautiful picture on the back. It looks like Trigger's out there, and he's kind of surprised by a fish jumping up. It's got Roy's picture up on the front of the cover too. But these were in Trigger's own line of comics. Here's number 3. It's also got Roy's picture on it. Number 3, the very nice comics, and I happen to have some nice copies of that. And here's number 4. There were 17 issues altogether, but and this one came with some kind of guarantee pamphlet on the back. It says the free tag collection, so evidently it's in pretty good shape. But those were the Trigger issues of comics. A lot of folks may not realize that. And then ran across a French comic, Roy Rogers. And it has stories in it. Of course, everything's written in French. I didn't understand it all, but it shows Roy and Trigger on the front of the cover there. And once my wife and I took a trip, a bus ride up to Branson, Missouri, and I happened to pick up a souvenir bag. That I bought something there. I got a souvenir bag from the Roy Rogers Museum. It was set up there, and they had a stuffed Trigger up there also, and Bullet. But they closed that down. It's not still in operation, but I thought that was a nice souvenir to bring out of there. And I ran across this on the internet, and evidently it came from the Roy Rogers Museum, and it's a letter that was sent by Roy to somebody who sent him some apples. And I'll read just a portion of it. It says, "Dale and I'd like to express our most sincere appreciation for your kindness in sending us the wonderful apples. We have already eaten our way through one box and own the second, and they are just wonderful. Thanks again." And then it's signed by Roy Rogers. And I made a copy of the original envelope that it came in. Those are just some interesting things about Trigger and Dale and Roy, and I think it's all good. And you know, they set some great examples for us. They had a faith. In fact, Dusty said about his mom, he said she's probably the best Christian that he'd ever known. But let me end with this again, and I'll say, I hope you find some happy trails to ride, and give me a like, and may the good Lord take a liking to you.
They threw away the pattern when they made Trigger. He was something else, and I was so lucky. I guess I was one of the luckiest cowboys.